Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Healing with Hila. This is your space for aligning, expanding, and reconnecting with who you truly are. I'm your host, Hila Ferguson. I'm a transpersonal hypnotherapist, life coach, and energy worker. Thank you so much for inviting me into your life. I wanted to share a little bit about this episode and how it came to be. As usual, I've been left to just wait it out. I would check in about recording the next episode, and they would just tell me to wait, that it's not time. In the meantime, just following my intuition and recording different other things, recording some midnight thoughts. And so finally on Friday, I have a serious talk with them, and I tell them that I need to put the episode out on Monday. You're not leaving me with a lot of time. And they told me to just relax and go have fun at dance class. And so I asked for some more clarity. And so they said, you're going to collaborate for the next one. You're just going to work with someone. And I was starting to scramble, thinking on my friends list, who can I call a favor? How can I fit them in the next couple of days? And again, they're telling me, relax. I realize that I have a session already scheduled tomorrow. And when that came into my mind, they confirmed for me that there's something magical that's going to come up and that I can just relax and go to dance class because there's absolutely nothing to do right now about it. I'm telling you, it's been such a path. And so here I am following the breadcrumbs, just allowing one step to lead into the next and trusting in the process. And so I relaxed and went and had fun at dance class. Working with my client was amazing. Some pieces came up and they felt so important. And so I look forward to sharing those segments with you in this episode. I'm going to pop in and expand on different things and just let this flow. I hope you gain some insight from it and receive the message that was supposed to be channeled and brought forward. I am so grateful for my client's vulnerability and just pure courage in allowing me to use our sacred time together on this platform for the highest good of everyone.
There's good and bad going on over here.
There's no such thing, but I'm with you.
Okay, so starting with the good, we've had a lot of conversations about me changing my trajectory of trying to educate people from like one-to-one to more to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And that the universe sort of delivered by me randomly getting invited to this random Zoom meeting by the Progressive Caucus of Arizona. Yeah, so then they start talking about how they need people to become PCs and PC this, PC that, PC, and I have no idea. I'm still not comfortable with asking him, what is a PC? I'm just like, yeah. I go to the Democrat holiday party for my district because I was randomly invited to that shit too.
Of course.
I walk in and meet the chair and the co-chair.
Cool.
Hi, and they know me. I don't know how. But they know who I am. And they're like, yeah, let me get your cell phone number and your email address. And less than 24 hours later, she emailed me. I am in Jasper Precinct. There are openings, and if I want to become a PC, I need to respond with the following information. So at the holiday party, I hear someone say political chairperson, and I'm like, that's what it is. So it's a political committee person, political chairperson,
Okay.
and the point, like each precinct has 3, and the point is to get on state-sponsored committees so that you can like vote on how budgets are allocated and that kind of stuff. But all of that is pointless. The point is that it's like the first step of running for office. I'm just like, all right, cool, let's do this.
I love it. Did you have a chance to meditate on that, to go into spirit, to like ask?
Yeah, well, so I was already feeling that pull of, I mean, I've contemplated like running for office previously. And with all of our conversations, like, yeah, I mean, in the last week, there has been a lot of reflection taking place over like the 12 nights of solstice, basically, for me. So there's been like a lot of reflecting and releasing and some downloads. And yeah, there's been a lot happening in regards to that. That kind of happens with me towards like throughout the holidays and the end of the year anyways. It's traditionally not a great time for me, so it's been weird. Dark, but good, but dark.
Yes, but that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because again, there is no, I think that piece in the beginning where they're like, there is no good or bad, it's something that's going to open up more today, I feel like. There's something to...
Yeah, another thing that has been drawing me very heavily is Hecate, the mother of witches.
Okay.
She randomly started appearing all over my social feeds. It was like everywhere I looked. Then I bought this necklace that has her on it, and it just like amplified the calling. And so I've been doing a lot of work with her. I spent the entire meditation with her. That was why I didn't want to share.
Great. Hecate? Say that her name again?
Like, well, so like there's multiple ways to pronounce
doesn't matter.
Hecate.
It doesn't matter what you
Hecate.
say. You say it. It's for your reference. Yeah. It's just human language translating vibration.
Yeah, which is actually something that she's told me because I straight up asked her how to pronounce her name correctly because everyone says it differently.
And she said it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I did a whole chapter on it for my own like podcast about my name because everybody says my name wrong.
Yeah.
And they did a full download on that.
How do people say your name?
My name is Hila. Nobody can say it.
Okay.
And it's okay because like it's in the thing because it's exactly it. It's a vibration that's being translated, and the way that they showed it to me and like they taught it to Lotus is it's another language. Like in English you're Lotus and in Hebrew you're Lotus. Mm-hmm. In Hebrew I'm Hila and in English I'm Hila. I don't care. Like it's just another way to say my name. Yeah. So that's the same with spirit. Oftentimes people get so held back also when they receive a name for a guide. Because they're like, well, is this right? Or am I saying it correctly? And spirit is always like, it's a vibration translation. Like, it doesn't matter. Call me whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was feeling her pull very heavy before meditation. And then almost immediately when you started meditation, it was like, bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
We have work to do.
Great.
And this was all like, and all of that contact was coinciding with the political shit.
Okay.
Which is very interesting.
Do they feel related to you?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to open up now this piece about what kind of came up with the work with her, or do you want to kind of like go overview and then we'll tie it all together? What do you want to talk about next? It doesn't matter. So Spirit saying they'll tie it regardless. So
like those are kind of the good things that are going on. Okay.
What's the not good things?
I mean, there's a lot of releasing happening.
Good.
I feel like I'm like clinging on the edge of like a depression hole.
Okay.
I'm trying not to slide into it, but if I'm honest with myself and look around my house and like my life, all the signs are there that I am depressed. I'm not doing like adult type things that need to be done. Like my car currently says oil change required. Exhibit A. And like there's stuff starting to pile up around my house, which is a huge sign of depression for me. So like super high on my priority list this weekend is to start getting rid of that because I feel like I can't stay out of this hole if I start piling shit up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like I'm fighting to not be super depressed. But I'm feeling very depressed.
I want you to talk to me more about that. They're saying that they need to, you know how like a lot of your journey was shedding the old and moving into new, and like things that you even like would say, they're like, we gotta like tweak it up a little. Like there was just a huge transformation from old Catherine to new Catherine. Like literally you stepped into a new body, a new life, a new agenda, a new everything, you know?
Yeah.
So they're wanting us to talk about this piece because they're telling me that yes, this is not the same. You're moving into old patterns and it's not what's showing up right now. And they need you to have some clarity on that. Anything about the space of depression that you're calling, I want you to speak about these feelings. I want you to you need to get clarity on that. They're saying you need to talk about it. So just whatever you want, start talking. Talk to me about the feeling.
Yeah,
talk to me about why you would call this depression and not sadness. Like,
I do feel sad. I feel very lonely. I'm calling it depression because historically in my life, like, there are signs that I am kind of depressed. I'm sad. And the signs are all around. But I just keep trying to convince myself that I'm not actually depressed yet. I'm just right there. I'm fighting to not be.
yes. And I think that they want us to. Let me ask you this and tell me if that feels resonating. Would you say you can call this misalignment? You are feeling how unaligned you are, the separation. So alignment, right, is when we feel turned on, tapped on, in the right time, in the right momentum, like we are doing it. Like there's a fire and a power and a calm and a focus that comes with alignment, right? Would you say then that this is misalignment? It is feeling a disconnect. It is not powering on together. Like, is that a good term to use?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to boil all of the feelings into one word, it's
yes.
like lonely.
Beautiful. So lonely comes from a space of feeling separated, right? Isolated, disconnected.
Yeah, even surrounded by people.
Yes. And which is the essence of misalignment. Because alignment is when soul self and physical conscious self come together as one and literally have the company of each other as they come into center. Misalignment is when those two pieces separate and they have such a disconnect, that it feels very alone. And usually we stay in consciousness, so we feel very disconnected and very separated and very alone. And so I love
all
that.
of my solstice practicing, though, I have not felt alone. I've been very much with Jeremiah, with Hecate, both. I mean, Grandma, Neve, everybody's been around.
Beautiful.
And that's really when I felt the most peace throughout this whole.
Excellent. Felt alignment, right? So they're making me use those terms with you because they're saying that they work better for your new language. It's not depression, it's really misalignment that you're feeling. And you're just saying, in those instances, you call them your solstice practices, but really they are when your soul and consciousness work together as one to connect with the unseen around you, to remind you that you are not alone, you are part of a very large, group, right now, focused in spirit, but also in physical reality through the political stuff. That was another way of pulling you into a environment where you're co-creating.
Yeah.
So they're showing you that really what you're experiencing, what we used to call it depression, is separation from consciousness and soul. That you are not allowing all the components of who you are to gather and come together. Because it's like if we were in alignment and we looked around your home right now, the feeling would be of maybe the need to create some space because of it's a different feeling, right? To say my house is cluttered and I'm moving into releasing some things so I can create a space of alignment, so I can do my practice, so I can call in these souls. In fact, I'm going to call these souls to come be with me as I clear my space, asking them to help me choose, what things to keep and what things to release, where is the garbage and how I need to release it, what needs to be put in a box for something else. I can move into creating space in my home from a space of alignment, from coming and feeling, putting music that feels good, calling in my guide Jeremiah, asking him to speak to me through the songs as I clear things, allowing the practice, right, to feel aligned as you're moving more into a space that feels good. Versus,
instead of feeling like I'm waging war against sadness.
Yes, against you're fighting this beast, right? Called depression. And that's what they're saying. They're like, this is old Catherine stuff. You are not in that space anymore. You have a deeper awareness on life and how it works. So this monster, that's why they started with the good and bad. There is no such thing as good and bad. This space right now that you're experiencing is good, because it's moving you into cleaning up old dialogues that are no longer serving. Because it's moving you into a place to recognize that what you're feeling is simply misalignment. And that for you, misalignment is mostly expressed through loneliness, through a separation, which is 100% misalignment. That's why suicide really in spiritual language is the need for alignment. It is literally the person saying, the only way for me to connect consciousness and soul is to change, to get out of the physical body. It is the pure need for alignment. So when you recognize that that is the need that I have, you are able to ask the question better. What can I do right now that serves my alignment? Instead of, I am fighting a beast. I am fighting this depression beast and I'm doing everything I can to claw out of this space. Therefore, I'm going to try to change physical reality to claw out of the space. But that's not necessarily causing alignment. Like, you try to change physical reality, things will start breaking. You'd have glass on the floor now you'd have to clean up. The mess would just get bigger. So recognize that really what you're running right now is old patterns that have caused you to separate, and that you are calling for alignment to come back. I want to hear what you're coming to you, what you're feeling, what you're thinking.
And I definitely resonate with them.
Good. So it feels authentic to you. It feels true to you.
Yeah, I'm just lonely. I don't know.
Okay, so can you define lonely deeper for me? Can you help me understand if it sits for you on two seats between physical and non-physical? So like,
No, it's all physical.
Beautiful. So you see the two seats. You see that non-physical feels very aligned for you, very
when
connected,
I'm non-physical,
very
I don't care
grooved.
about the fact that I'm lonely physically.
Beautiful. So is lonely or alone better, and do they carry a difference for you and their energy? So feel into lonely, feel into alone, and talk to me about those two pieces.
They feel one and the same to me.
Okay. And tell me more about what I really don't want is. So start with what I really don't want is, and move it with the threads of that lonely and alone. It doesn't matter what you're using.
What I really don't want is to be alone.
To take it deeper,
physically.
Tell me more. Not have a partner?
Correct.
Let's get honest, right? Radical truth. Talk about it.
I think that's probably my biggest fear.
What do you really want?
A partner. I really want a companion in this life.
Good. I want you to dive deeper and tell me more about that. What do you want in that partner and in that companion?
Unconditional love.
Okay.
And what's so weird is that, like, there are at least 3 men in my life right now who would be in a relationship with me the moment I said so.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be in a relationship with any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I know that I'm consciously making the decision to be alone. but I still just really want a companion, but I'm just not gonna settle.
Good. So I want you to feel for a second that what you are craving is not the company of someone else.
No.
Get very clear with that consciously, right? Get very clear with that. Conscious self needs to hear that. We are not looking for someone to physically be present for us. We are looking for what we would call our soulmate. We are looking for what we would call, like you just said, a companion, a partner of unconditional love, and we need to grow that. So tell me more about that. What do you really want? So again, you cleared very good. I do not want a physical companion. That's not what this is. I can, in a snap of a finger, have a physical companion right now.
Yeah.
That's not what this is. So what do I really want? What I really want is keep going. Gotta grow that piece.
I mean, what I really want is a soulmate.
Tell me more about your soulmate.
Oh, it's someone I'm super attracted to.
That's okay. So physical attraction is super important.
Yeah.
Yes, physically compatible is important. Remember, we settled on the physical piece in a way last time. We are not doing that.
We've settled in more ways than on the physical
I know.
piece.
So what else?
Although my last relationship was probably the most physically attractive I've ever been.
Good. Good. That means you're raising it. What else?
Emotional stability would be nice.
What does that mean to you?
Not broken. I'm referencing Mick there.
Yes. Yeah. Let's clean it up a little bit more, because it's not about being broken. It's about being willing to heal, right? Like, you can bring somebody in, like, you're not fucking clean off the, but you are willing to heal. You are willing to do the work, right? You are willing to move into alignment. You are willing to constantly work towards that alignment. So clean that up for him as well. It's not necessarily not broken, because I get it. Like, the sense of broken is that you're not willing to do the work, but they're saying that's not a good term for you. Yeah. Not broken is not an affirmation. Spirit will bring you broken. So clean it up better. What does that mean? And you can use what we just said, but clean it up for you. Emotional stability means what?
And willing to do the work, and being okay with themselves. I think being okay with yourself is like a huge thing.
Great. Let's take this deeper. Being okay, loving, accepting. Is being okay enough? Do we need to, like, loving and accepting, or being willing to accept?
Yeah, willing.
Willing to accept. Mm-hmm. And love themselves?
Yep.
Okay.
And love me the same way.
Oh, we're getting good on this. What else?
One of the downloads that Jeremiah gave me while I was reflecting on winter solstice with my Yule log burning was a face.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that you said that, because like 2 seconds ago I wanted you to ask Jeremiah to show you something to anchor it for you.
It's a face of a man.
Okay.
He's definitely younger than me. He's got light hair.
What's the message?
Like, I basically was like, I was reflecting on all of the relationships basically since my divorce, and Jeremiah and I were just kind of going back and forth, and he was being, cocky as usual. And then, just the face popped into my head, and I was like, is that him? And he said, maybe.
Beautiful. That is an important message. Why was that not locked in for you?
It was. I mean, it
is a maybe, right? It's a very beautiful, solid option that your guide did not necessarily was like, yeah, here he is, like. So move into that space, because your guide is very present right now, and I feel like he wants to give you another piece on that. He's very happy we're having this conversation, and so just inviting this presence right now and see what else he wants to share with you. What came to you?
It just feels like hard work. That's what I'm feeling.
Okay, good. I want to clear this up for you. So Catherine is holding on to the sense of hard work when it comes to calling in the partner. Let them show you where the resistance sits. Let them show you why it's being reflected as hard work.
And it's because of my fear of being hurt and
Beautiful.
abandoned.
Yes, they're showing you where it sits. It does not need to be hard work, but right now it is hard work because we're sitting so much in the misalignment. How fast or how slow this is coming into your reality is only dependent on the work that you do.
I think that's why I feel like I've been convince myself that I'm fighting it and not falling into it, is because I know that if I fall into it, it's never coming. If I go backwards, then it's not coming. And that's, I think, why I'm like, when I leave therapy, I'm cleaning out the, you know what I mean?
An agenda.
I'm trying to like do things in physical in order to keep that progress and momentum going, because I'm fully aware of this like dark, gloomy sucking back into the past.
I love this. So let's talk about it. Let's bring some light into that peace, into that fear. So the progress can be monumental in the energy, right? So physical is easy. And so radical truth is a big piece today. You know, from straight up saying it is a partner, it is a soulmate that I am ready to start calling in, and that's where my depression sits, that's where my fear sits. So let's have radical truth on that. It's beyond time. Like, we've done pieces of that, but there's another piece for that. So talk to me about this fear. Talk to me about why this is going to be hard work, or feels like it's going to be hard work if we say what we are.
I think it's just it's the abandonment piece.
What's going to you?
It's like a kind of being discarded.
I feel like this is really important to do in a more meditative state and less conscious. So again, I want you to take a breath and invite Jeremiah in. And let him literally like open a screen in front of you, or just take you into a scene and show you where is it in our highest good to have an understanding and an awareness about. He knows conscious Catherine has certain moments that she's recorded in her history as in abandoned moments, but it's not necessarily even what he wants to take you today. So I want you to release all limits in time and space and invite Jeremiah to just show you what would be in your highest good right now to understand, to have a clarity over.
At this point, Catherine was struggling and just allowing guidance in easily, a process that's normally very easy for her. And so I took some time, inviting in the vibration and releasing expectations on seeing, knowing, hearing. Sometimes we tend to get stuck into our usual way of experiencing. And when we approach an issue that's a bit heavier for us, an issue where our conscious mind is holding on more tightly, we find that it's harder to connect. And we're not doing anything wrong. The key is to just connect to the vibration, to the feeling, allowing the guidance to come to just support you vibrationally without needing yet to create a story or form any kind of thought except the feeling of connecting and allowing and receiving.
I'm having a really hard time.
It's okay. I want you to let go and let me help you. Let go of trying to create things in your mind and let your guide's presence come in. Just work with vibration at first. Don't worry about images. Feel his presence, and it's just a soothing vibration. He knows the hurt that's been carried by consciousness. And he knows that it's time for you to understand it fully. So just move into feeling, just move into vibration. If he can tell you anything right now, what would be the first thing he wants you to hear?
I'm loved.
So I want you to just relax into that vibration. Everything that you need is right here for you. And he knows that there's a piece within consciousness that is holding on to this belief of being discarded.
The feeling of being a kid and being left alone.
Mm-hmm. Good. Move into the feeling. Talk about the feeling.
I feel like I was a kid that was abandoned. A little boy.
Tell me more. Open up the story. He's ready. He's lifting the veil for you, so let the story just flow.
I've known for a long time that I was a man who had a very large rose garden and was known for my roses.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is the beginning of that story. I don't see anything before just like a little boy left alone. Feels like that whole lifetime I was alone.
Why does Jeremiah want you to recognize that? Let him talk to you about it.
It almost feels like you're capable of doing it. Example, and to like see you've done it before, and you can do it again. But that's not what I want to do.
I want you to ask him if in that life you were meant to start and finish alone, or did you miss something?
Well, that every lifetime has like multiple paths.
Correct.
It was a path that was not alone. I don't know that it was necessarily a miss.
Beautiful. So feel that. He showed you that this life was not necessarily a miss and that you've already experienced this space of being abandoned and then growing and continuing your path of being alone. And I want you to ask, is this for my highest good in this round?
I feel like it's a no. I've constantly been searching for it this lifetime.
Let him show you how when we run old patterns from different times, we tend to take them with us. We ask to be shown that root of being discarded. We ask to be shown the next piece that you are ready to unveil. And you were shown that it was not placed in this timeline, that it was not placed in this life. And so you have a choice right now. Do you want to invite it back into this life? Do you want to leave it as a lesson learned? Let your guide help you with showing you these choices right now. He felt like you were ready to see this and recognize this.
I want to leave it, but I feel like it already followed me. I mean, right now he's kind of showing me that the being drawn to like clean out the physical is that he's kind of driving that because it will then allow me to clean out.
Is it a good space to start with just being willing to let go? I'm willing to release and let go that piece of me that is carrying the feeling of being discarded. I'm willing to let go the piece of me that is carrying the need to be alone and lonely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's that want that we want from our lover, is that need and being willing, right? Always being willing to do that healing, always being willing to take that step forward, to release and let go what doesn't serve.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else is a good step for us to move into that direction of facing that fear, working with that consciousness? We're not going to ask her to step away. We're going to honor what she's carrying. And so being willing to release.
I don't know how to heal the physical. The unconscious part. I don't know how to heal the conscious part. Like, can leave it in the past. I can separate those feelings. And I can understand where they're coming from, but I don't know how to heal that gaping wound. No, it's definitely, I don't have the, like, conscious healing portion. I have the understanding and awareness portion. And I think that's the part that conscious Catherine has a hard time with.
Tell me more. She's struggling with what?
I think all of the pain that attempting to find a partner has caused.
Where you were allowing yourself to scan that life, right? Where you stood in that garden when you tended to your roses, because you've had those glimpses in that body and that feeling.
With Mary, yeah.
Did it feel alone? Did it feel like
very much alone.
Was it
me and the roses?
Was it devastating? Like, was it hard? Was there like something missing, or did you feel content in that space?
I loved my roses.
That's okay. That's a good thing.
It was all about the roses.
And so you felt content. So when you were in that space, you felt very content.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really important. There was a life in which you felt content choosing that path. And oftentimes, when our soul does not want to repeat the same pattern, it would come with a different feeling to deter us from doing that.
Just then, I got the sense that, like, I was unwilling in that lifetime to even take that risk. I have taken a lot of risk in this lifetime to achieve that, and I was unwilling to do any of that.
Big piece. Breathe. And let that truth just move into the cells in your body. And how important it was for you in this life to take the chances and the risks that you didn't in the other one. And tell me more as you're breathing.
And that's what's created the gaping wound. Because it's just been an epic failure after epic failure. That's the whole I don't know how to heal.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like part of me is struggling with why I've done it.
Why you're taking the risks, anyway. It was way easier the other one. Just you and the roses.
Because I was lonely. There's probably a whole lot of holidays spent alone. Yet
again, they are reminding you, you're scanning it from consciousness. When you moved into that body and into that life, and they even confirmed it to you when we ask, you didn't do anything wrong. It was okay. It was a perfect experience to be content in your garden. It was a perfect experience in that life to not take the risk. It was fine. Yet you were very adamant when you finished that life to say that you didn't want to bring that into the now. That in this one, you want to take the risk. In this one, it's important to fight for that companion. When we have a life, when we learn a certain path and feel into it, and they showed it to you, you picked this path and you just stayed with it. Feeling content, being alone. And then moving out of it and saying, okay, I want to do this differently. Before coming into the body, the soul chooses, different ways to experience her lesson. If you said, well, when I'm going to go and be in Catherine's body, I'm going to pick my soulmate, the love of my life, to show up when I am 16, and we're going to get married and live happily after when I'm 20. Do you see how that wouldn't have fixed the lesson that the soul wants to learn by taking a chance this time, by not playing it safe, by saying, I don't care, I'm going to do it? Can you connect? Can you feel the connection? Mm-hmm. So when we bring in a lesson and we say, no, this time I'm going to fight for it, or this time, no matter what, I'm going to have a fire that's going to constantly tell me not to give up, not to just be content with my roses, not to just be content with my garden, not to just let go and be alone. I came with a fire that will continue to remind me to just not be that it wasn't in your highest good, in your plan, to just plop the love of your life early on. Because what would that have taught your soul?
Not a whole lot.
It wasn't in your highest good to put your soulmate early in your path this lifetime. If you're recognizing that your soul wants to figure this piece out. I hate putting so much in for you, but I feel like I'm just connecting dots that you already experienced.
Yeah, you're helping me connect dots because things are very foggy right now.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's why they're giving me permission to kind of like move a little bit more in that conscious space for you.
Yeah, because even as we're talking, I'm able to connect other dots.
Beautiful. So in a way, the gaping wound was intentional, right? It was intentional to continue to experience this, to get really good at it and to get really strong at it. Because again, if you come from a lifetime where you've learned the path of being content alone, there is absolutely no reason to bring it back into this one. And there was a reason to fight for it because you could feel that in that one you didn't. Like that there was a path of it splitting and you didn't take it. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, consciousness now can look at your timeline in this body, in this life, and said, oh, we didn't fucking fail. We did amazing. Like every one of those experiences that put us down, that then made us get up and get clearer on what we want, get honed a little bit better, raise our needs, raise our deserving, right? We deserve a partner to match us on all levels. Like every one of those experiences raised your ask. And it honed you better into what your soul wanted to accomplish.
I'm slightly scared that I've raised too high. Like there's nobody that can actually move.
That's why we're doing this right now. That's why Jeremiah said it's time to unlift the veil and to clear up for you where your fear sits and then where your real fear sits, right? So it's like, right, it's our greatness that we're most afraid of, right? So it's kind of like, here's the first fear. This is where it sits, right? This piece about being abandoned, this piece about life showing you, like tie it into previous lives. And now he's bringing it up and he's saying, let's clean it up real good. Because even when I had you clean up what you don't want and what you really want, you had a hard time. Like we needed to tweak it, right? We needed to be like not broken. That's not necessarily something I'm keeping in my want. I need to clear what that means. So when we broke down the list together before we started, we basically did what you just said. We broke it down to a piece that says, no, it's not that I don't want somebody not broken. I just want somebody to be willing to do the work. You just shifted that, right? From something that's like very hard to accomplish, because I feel like we've all kind of been broken in a certain part, in our timeline. You kind of took it from something that's completely unattainable to something that you actually want, which is not necessarily somebody that hasn't been through hardships. It's someone that shows up through their hardships. It's somebody that's not giving up. It's somebody that's saying, I understand what alignment is and I'm going to work for it. And so what you just said, the piece about, like putting the deserving so high that it might not comes with, funny enough, another piece that doesn't feel like it deserves. Right? Like I'm going to put it so up there that it's not even real. Like it's never going to come into my life.
It reminds me of Sandra Bullock when she, in Practical Magic, you've seen Practical Magic, when she casts the spell of the perfect man who doesn't exist.
Ooh, truth bumps.
It's very much like that.
So part of today and breaking up those pieces for you, I feel like held two very important pieces. Getting you very clear on how to call in what you want and get clear on what that is. And get clear on where the past in a way held you back, but not really. Really, today was about showing you that your past was formed in the most perfect way that led you to your present.
And his maybe on the face is because I have a choice to make.
That's right. How does a piece around the gaping wound feels now? Do you feel like you have a process of healing?
I mean, unconscious Catherine does. I don't know about conscious Catherine.
Okay. Can unconscious Catherine bring the process of healing through painting for you? Can you move in with the intention of painting to heal the wound? Because think about all the pieces that you've done, right? That were a wound, whether it was with Mick or all those pieces, you bridged. Your soul bridges with your consciousness and come together to create the healing. It's not done alone. You get the awareness and understanding of the truth, right? Just like with Mick, you got an understanding of the truth, the real picture, what you're ready to see once the veil is lifted, just like today. And then you bridge. Soul comes forward and works with conscious self in the I am willing path. Because if I am willing to release now the space with the wound, I'm willing to release the wound. I am willing to heal the wound. I am consciously affirming for my soul to come forward and help me together to heal the wound.
He's been very heavy on my mind for the last couple weeks.
Key.
Mick. There's been a lot of sadness and releasing.
Because he is linked to the wound, and he is 100% linked to the piece around the loneliness, right? His lesson is incredibly weaved in that. So 100% you're going to raise all those pieces. When you sit in an energy, right, the universe expands it. It says, you are right, here is more. So even when you focus on healing a certain piece in you, like you're focusing on healing your money in your life, universe will say, you are right, here is more. And it will come in both directions. It will come with a lot of bills, and it would come with money. So it's normal for the vibration to grow when we focus on it. So when you're focusing right now on the relationship piece, on the loneliness, and calling a partner, a soulmate, 100% normal. That we're bringing up the pieces that are connected to that lesson.
Yep. Yeah, because in the last week there's been a lot of reflection on past relationships. But very heavily associated to Mick, for sure.
And so now you have an intention that you can weave into this, right? Recognizing that you didn't do anything wrong. All your experiences in this life were actually perfectly weaved by your soul because of other lifetimes and the things that you wanted to accomplish and learn. And that now that you have that awareness, you are willing to let go of the pain. You are willing to let go of the hurt. You are willing to let go of the fear.
I am willing to let go of it.
Okay, let me ask you this. You don't need to take this step next. You might need a little bit of time, but are you willing to start calling him in, or do you want to just stay a little bit more in the cleaning up space?
I want to be
ready. Yes. I love that. So did you see what you just recognized? That there's a gift in being in the releasing, but that there's a piece within you that's already wanting. That's great. That's fantastic. You can absolutely do them together, but if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. So if it doesn't feel good to affirm, I am willing to open myself up for my soulmate to come into my life. If you're still feeling like a little, I need to sit a little bit more with, I'm willing to release first the trauma. I'm willing to release the abandonment piece. I'm willing to let that piece go, I'm willing to heal my gaping wound. Like if those statements feel more like, and the other one feels more, then don't. If both feels like you can breathe into them, then bring both in.
I think I feel capable of doing both.
Beautiful.
What's weird is that there's this strange tie between the physical clean out aspect and the wanting to call in.
Great.
And so I feel like I have to clean.
Good. They are showing you your highest good timeline, okay? So that's what we call following the breadcrumbs. They're showing you they're showing you the pieces, but they're telling you in your highest good, it would be to lead in that path. And we can't even tell you consciously why that makes sense. You don't need to make sense of it. But we are showing you the next best step and the next best step and the next best step. And so breathe in a bit, again, that piece of what I really want. The unconditional love, the companion and partner soulmate, that physical connection, and the emotional stability, being willing to do the work. Being willing to love and accept themselves, and then me as well. I want you to notice if there's anything else to that you want to
No, it sounds like a big ask.
add. Okay, beautiful. Since it still feels big to you, we're not going to add to it. The more you're going to feel deserving, the more the cleaning up piece will happen, the more this piece won't feel as big. Because if I apply this to your business, like if I apply this to your career, it'd be like that. Like, a work where I feel like, I'm heard and get paid well.
I apply on it, though, is just like the amount of trash that I have to dig through to find one person even remotely intellectual or emotionally mature to even start that. So that's where that's...
Work with conscious Catherine on that piece, please. Don't hold on to that.
Digging through the trash.
Yeah, because that is a very earthly, physical process that is not how you call in a soulmate. Soulmate, will like bump you in the street. Soulmate will be behind you in the grocery store. Soulmate does not come through the physical process of wading through stuff. It doesn't. And so, again, digging through a trash for someone is a very hard process. If you heal the gaping wound within you and just ask the universe to bring that forth into your life, it's a very easy process. Think about the beginning of our session and how you were telling me that you just kept being invited to these things that you didn't even know you were on the list for these people. You didn't wade through the trash for that. You did not have to physically apply a process to get on that meeting or to get invited to that party and to talk to that person. You allowed your energy to be there. You said yes, to the universe, wherever it is that you needed for the highest good, and they took care of it. And so you need to understand that it's the same for a partner. The process works exactly the same. When you do your work, you clean up the old stuff, you bring yourself into a space of calling it in where it's now time. You don't have to apply a physical process that's difficult. You just get invited to a party that you didn't even know you were on the list for. And you say yes because it feels good. And so it's okay that you can't fully feel that yet. It's because you still have cleaning up to do. It's because you still need to spend time with the wound and you still need to heal. But it's normal. So consciousness looks at this piece and says it's a big ask. And soul looks at you and says, excuse me, out of like how many billions of souls that are around you? Are you kidding me right now? Like you have 100,000s to choose from. We'll bridge time and space for you. That's easy. It's not that hard to throw your name in a hat. Spirit does it all the time. Okay, so scanning, breathing. Hecate wants to talk still, like she did not. So there's a piece for her as well. So before we invite her fully in, is there anything else?
No.
And I feel like she wants to speak on what we've been talking about as well. So just inviting that space of connection for you. Just notice if she's willing to.
I feel like she's really stepping in to help me direct this like anger and chaos and want for justice and everything into constructive forms.
I want to ask if there's anything first that you would like to share with you about today and the piece around the heart.
I think the connection there is my distaste towards men.
Beautiful. Let that open. That's really important.
I feel like I've been wearing her as almost an armor over the holidays. With like family and politics and you know what I mean? She's very much influenced my outfit choices and my jewelry and the words coming out of my mouth. I've referred to myself as an agent of chaos over the holidays. And so I feel like she's very much like owning that and how I've been like donning her as armor to go into battle. And I'm wondering if maybe that I can do that in the sense of, finding a soulmate's not a battle, but as like a way to convince conscious Catherine that I'm protected.
Yeah, it's a big piece.
Yeah.
And so I want her to help you see how can you call in a partner and still...
Yeah, because I feel very unapproachable.
Yes.
When I am in that space.
Yes. There's something very important to what you said in the beginning, which is teaching you how to hone the anger and the chaos and actually shift it in a way that is impactful.
Yeah, there's always been this conversation about, like, me being in my masculine versus my feminine. And that anger and need for justice and all feels very masculine for me.
Yeah.
And it's very hard for me to make any sort of a connection with a male and my masculine.
Correct.
So there's got to be a way that I can still be in my divine feminine while utilizing all of this. Previously, though, I've only found myself able to step into my divine feminine when I have had a strong male partner. Whenever I'm alone, I'm very much in the masculine. And it has always required that for me to be able to feel like I was safe enough to set that aside.
And I think that part of her piece is to teach you how to do it in a deeper way. It doesn't need to be an external armor, but it is to hone the energy in within. And the follow-up question I have for you is, will you be able to hold space for a man at times? It's not always, because you're going to play between the feminine and the masculine, but will you be able to hold space for a man in his feminine when you are in your masculine? It's a really important question that I feel like I need you to, like as you're reflecting on these pieces and scanning them, because I feel like in the past you saw it as a weakness. But you are calling for someone that has the emotional stability and awareness to do the work, to ask the hard questions. A lot of those pieces would be reflected as feminine.
Yeah, I would agree.
And so you need to make peace within you to allow that piece into your life and to have that in a man, because you're showing me that in the past you would cancel that out. Like as too soft or whatever, not safe or whatever.
In some instances, yes. Like, I would say that with my ex-husband, obviously, he felt like he couldn't tell me that he wanted to bang dudes. And it always, to me, was like, why couldn't you just say, like, hey, you want to bring in a dude?
Right, this could have looked a lot different.
Right, yeah, and so... in a way, obviously, like, that was his, quote, maybe feminine side.
But also not being willing to work on his stuff.
But yes, there was a very much...
No emotional stability.
Unwilling.
Yeah.
Now, that was actually something that I really liked about Mick, was how open he was.
With his emotions.
Yeah, and that he was so... secure in his masculinity.
Yes.
He could wear pink nail polish.
Yes.
And it wouldn't deter from that.
Right. And
that masculinity,
love it.
I am super drawn to. And I embrace that part, I think, of showing the feminine side, but when you're not willing to work on things, so like
he didn't have the courage
stuck in the washing machine.
So the courage was lacking.
Discount that.
Yes. So the courage, so that's that piece of being aware of where you are, and then having the courage to work on where you are. He was missing having the courage, to work on what you need to work on. And again, inviting that for your frame of mind. Is that a masculine? Is that a feminine? Where does that sit? And can it sit in both? And can I have honor space for both? But what they were showing me, I think, with you is that it is going to be a dance. You're never going to be just feminine, and you're never going to be just masculine. And that need for justice, that peace within you that, you know, is very like strong, we don't necessarily want it to go away. And we would love, you know, your soulmate to know how to sit when you dance, and vice versa. So it's like, you gotta allow that softness though. So when you are in your hardcore, you're gonna need your counterpart to help balance that. And you need to be able to invite that in. So it's such a beautiful realization when you recognize that you both have both. And it's just a matter of allowing that dance as it comes in, you know, throughout your life. So when you're anchoring again into that, you know, like, I'm not willing to compromise over these pieces, and needs to be that, like, not just emotional stability, but being, you know, having the courage and the willingness to do the work. You know, you're inviting pieces that hold both feminine and masculine. And it doesn't ask you to show up any differently. But I agree with you, because the distaste towards men, this peace, you gotta heal it, baby, or you are never going to be able to call in a man into your life. You gotta clean up some of those beliefs. And it's funny because they're laughing and they're telling me to challenge you when you look at this and change the word men to black. Like, you'd never say, I have a distaste for black people. Like, you would never say that, ever. And so they're laughing and they're saying, why is this different? You are literally taking like
more of a distaste for toxic masculinity.
That's a better way to clean it up. And that energy exists in both male and female. That has nothing to do with men and a gender. But somewhere along the line, your beliefs got a little...
That's Charlie.
So clean it up. You have an opportunity to clean it up.
Charlie's like the epitome of toxic masculinity.
Right? And not all fathers are like that, and not all men are like that. And so
when I hear a man be like that, it just, like, I'm physically repulsed. And I think that I apply blanket statements like that because a man who is just like Charlie is about to be president of the United States.
Okay.
And so I think for me, it's like the feeling is so familiar.
Yes, and the universe looks at you and say, you are right, here is more.
Yeah.
So be aware of what it is that you are expanding. So again, it's that observed reality. You're right. The observed reality around you is that it's happening, and there's a lot of it, and it exists mostly in the male body and blah, blah, blah. But you're being called to shift that, because if you have such a blanket statement on that, at the same breath saying, I want to call in a man to be my soulmate, the universe goes, well, we don't know what the fuck to give you.
Yeah.
Like,
for a while, I wished really hard I could be a lesbian, and I just can't.
I know. And again, I feel like it was an intentional soul decision. Because again, if you came before coming to this body and said, I'm going to choose a brain that's going to be content in both genders, you would have never been able to conquer this piece around, you know what I mean? You would have doubled your options. You wouldn't, it was the same like calling in your soulmate at 16. Yeah. It wasn't helpful for figuring this out.
Yeah.
So you needed a brain that is more hetero. It was on purpose for you to come in a female body and want and need a man into the life. Yeah. And again, when you recognize that this was in a way a choice to empower you in your lesson versus something that you're just kind of like stuck with, it changes the narrative. And she's good, Hecata. But it's the same energy, and I think that she would be a good guide for you. There's something to that dance. Okay. Let's feel into stuff. There was a lot today.
Yeah, I've been feeling her strongly. She came in hot out of nowhere. Oh, it was really good. He's like,
And-
all right, I'm here.
And I love how she cleaned it up for you a little bit and saying, you know, like you donned me as an armor and that was great and I got you through the holidays, but now I'm showing you that it's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you hone this better. I'm here to help you move this energy into a very productive, you know, way of
Mhm.
making a difference.
Mhm.
I feel like that's super empowering.
Well, someone Chuck, can there possibly be more?
Okay, so you feel solid in taking those next few steps, physical steps,
Yeah, that was a lot.
cleaning up, inviting in, even to your cleaning up process, the intention of releasing and letting go. They love that we gave you a different process around this idea of depression. Right? Like, that's not even I feel like that was literally kind of cleaned up. Like, it's not even something that now you're going to go back and say, I'm fighting this depression, I'm keeping it at bay. Like, I feel like as soon as we started to shift the dialogue around really what it is, you know, like that misalignment, alignment, and then just the radical truth of just wanting a partner and calling in a soulmate, we've like completely dissipated that beast. Like, it's not.
Yeah, really, I just feel like the physical aspects of what I would call depression are what is left to be like cleaned up.
Yes. And again, let's refer to them as misalignment and an invitation to create order, an invitation to create a release. Because it's true, you know, again, being intentional as you're cleaning up. Help me let go, help me, you know, the emotional, you know,
Help me renew my tags.
Yeah.
I need to do that too. Yeah.
Okay. Today was good.
I hope this episode resonated with you. I left it mostly intact. I know some things were a little bit out of context, but at the same time, I just felt like it was important to leave it the way that it was. I actually struggled a bit with editing and kept checking in with my intuition and my team, asking for the right path forward, and just continually being confirmed that it's okay to leave it the way that it is, that it's okay to leave it as long as it is, and with some of the pieces unclear, because it holds an energy that will be serving others. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Healing with Hila. If you'd like to hear more like that, join me on my Patreon page for exclusive content and my mini podcast, Midnight Thoughts. I'd love to hear more from you. Leave in the comments anything you would like for me to discuss in future episodes. Thank you so much for inviting me into your life. So much love your way.